Hey y'all, my name is Paulina and welcome back to my channel where my goal is to help you create some very easy, delicious, and affordable vegan meals. Today though, we are not going to be cooking so much, rather just assembling and baking, and I wanted to show you 3 different very easy food related gift ideas for the holidays. If you are in a pinch and haven't gone Christmas shopping yet, I think this could be perfect for you. The first option would be nut butters. And I'm going to show you how to make an almond butter and a hazelnut butter that's really nice and creamy and perfect for the holiday season. The second option for a gift would be some hot cocoa jars, really simple to assemble. And then the third option is going to be some gingerbread cookies, because who doesn't enjoy getting a little bag of nice, delicious spiced cookies? So if any of this sounds like something that you're interested in, then keep on watching. For this recipe, you will need 400 grams of hazelnuts as well as 400 grams of almonds, and these will each make about a small jar of around 250 milliliters. You'll also need some jars to store them in, and optional but highly recommended would be some pumpkin pie spice and a sprinkle of salt. First things first, you are going to lay down all your nuts on the pan, of course, for roasting, and just spread them out evenly. This is what the hazelnuts looked like before, and you're just going to roast them in the oven at 175 Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. That's what they'll look like after. And now here we're going to start off with the hazelnuts. I'm just putting them in a Tupperware and going to shake them really intensely to help let the shells fall off their little skins. Also afterwards, you can just put them in a tea towel and it helps to kind of rub them off. The shells are a bit bitter, so I would highly recommend this step and try to get as much of it off as you can. You want them to end up looking something like this, and yeah, it's going to be a bit tedious, but it's definitely worth all the work. So eventually you'll have something that looks like this. It won't be perfect, but as long as a lot of the little skins are off, then that is good to go. Next up, you're just going to add all of those nuts into your food processor. Mine is pretty small, but it'll do the trick. And then we're going to start off with a few short pulses and then have a good go. It's going to feel like it is taking a while. That is okay. Patience is a virtue. And eventually you're going to have something that looks a little bit like this and dusty, and that's when you're going to want to wipe down the sides and make sure it's all nice and compacted towards the bottom of the blade. Once you are done with that, you're just going to continue the blending until it starts to break down a little bit more. All the oils are breaking down at this point and you want it to be nice and creamy, so you're just going to keep going. It looks like this now, which is better than crumbs, but not quite where we want it to be yet. So onwards with the last little bit of blending, and eventually it's going to look like this, nice and creamy. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and I will be adding a little bit of the pumpkin pie spice and giving all of that a nice stir. All that's left now is to pour it out into a clean jar, and then you are ready to go. Onwards now with our almond butter. The almonds are definitely less problematic than the hazelnut shells, and I don't mind the taste of the skin, so we're going to keep them on after roasting and just make the almond butter in the same fashion that we did with the hazelnuts. This one ended up a bit thicker than the hazelnut butter because I was blending them while the nuts were pretty cooled down, so I'd recommend blending them while they're nice and hot. So all that's left to do is to pour it out, and nevertheless it's still delicious. I enjoy it over some warm oats, but I also enjoy it in smoothies or just alone with apples or over toast. This is what they're gonna look like when they're all done. I just decided to put some cute little labels on, and that's how I'll be giving them away. For this recipe, you're going to need some cacao powder, some vegan marshmallows without gelatin, some coconut sugar, and optional but nice would be some dark chocolate chunks or a dash of cinnamon. First off, we're going to be adding 1 cup of cacao powder into a mixing bowl, followed by half a cup of that coconut sugar and a little bit of those dark chocolate chip chunks. Then you're gonna add that dash of cinnamon and just mix all together. It's really as simple as that, and then I'm just loading up my tiny little jar here with that mixture, and I'll be stuffing some marshmallows right at the top. To make it, you're just gonna warm up some milk. I chose rice because that's all I had, but I think oat would be really nice. Then you're just gonna add 1 tablespoon of the mixture to it, mix it all up, and enjoy. Which plant-based milk do you always have at home? Let me know in the comments below. For this recipe, you're going to need some all-purpose flour, baking soda, a pinch of salt, some ground ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg, some vegan butter, coconut sugar, molasses, ground up flax seeds, and the cookie cutters, and optional would be some powdered sugar for dusting. To a small mixing bowl, you're going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and then you'll give that all a good mix to well combine. In a separate bowl, you're now going to add about 1/4 a cup of vegan butter with 1/2 cup of coconut sugar and cream that together. Once it's nice and creamy and combined, you will then be adding your 1/3 of a cup of molasses. And make sure you get it all in there. And then afterwards, you're going to be adding your flax egg, which is 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds with 3 tablespoons of water. Once again, you'll mix all of that together. It should look something like this. Now we're going to add the dry ingredients to the wet, but just about in 1/3 at a time. So here I just have a little bit of that dry mixture, and I'm going to mix it in and then add a little bit more at a time. You're going to want to just be stirring, preferably with a wooden spoon. That'd be best at this point because it's really sticky, and the batter will look something like that. At this point, we're going to separate it into 2 rounds and then put it in the fridge for 1 hour to chill before you roll it out. Shout out to Bianca Sapatka for this recipe. She's one of my favorite bloggers, and I'll leave the link down below in the description, but we're just going to roll that out and cut out the small little men and be nice and gentle when transferring them onto the sheet. You're going to want to bake it for 8 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius. And when you're done with them, they should look a little bit more fluffier and something like this. They are nice and a little bit spicy and chewy and really delicious. I would highly recommend this recipe. If you're looking for a lower waist option, I'd recommend giving them away in paper bags. Otherwise, perhaps a small Tupperware.
If you've made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope at least one person gets to try one of these gift ideas, and if not for Christmas, then maybe sometime in the new year, just because I think in 2021 we should definitely not deprive ourselves or others of the simple pleasures in life, and just a way to brighten up someone's day. I think we've made it this far, so we definitely deserve those little things. If you guys want some more recipe inspiration, feel free to follow me on my food account, Instagram, @NoCampsJustPlants, and I will catch you guys next video.